We've seen an internal email from British Airways management to its pilots instructing them, if they're on long-haul flights, to fuel up an additional hour's worth to prepare for the possibility of having to hold over London if they're coming into Heathrow or Gatwick. If they're a short-haul flight, they have to take on an extra half an hour's worth. Now, there's already a contingency anyway of about half an hour's extra fuel should they be stuck in the hold. Anyone coming in to Heathrow or Gatwick will have no doubt in the past been in that hold, sometimes for many minutes. Well, if things get bad on the ground, it could be a long time that you're up in the air, and that's burning fuel. And of course, fuel is money in that sense. If you look at a typical long-haul transatlantic flight from, say, New York to London, currently the fuel price is about £27,000 for that trip. If you add this extra hour in there, it's taking an additional £6,500 to fuel it for that hour. Now, if you multiply that by thousands of flights, then you can see how this is costing not just BA, because the other airlines are also going to have to come up with this contingency, many, many millions of pounds at a time, Arlene, when they've been absolutely clobbered, hammered by the pandemic, and they're trying to get back again to, a proper healthy business. And just as they're doing that, these strikes come along. We've been speaking to Steve Dann, the Chief Operating Officer with Border Force, and he spoke about how that sort of stacking, if you like, in the air could happen if there is congestion on the ground.
That's the Department for Transport's issue, links with the CAA, Civil Aviation Authority, and the Air Traffic Control. What I do is provide the information as what's on the ground. What it could lead to is flight delays and flight bunching. But again, this is what we do on a day-to-day basis. We manage the business as usual, changes in approach, flight bunching, and we have the resources, the contingent resource, able to respond to that.
That's the Border Force representative there telling us about that. I mean, I was coming over from Belfast this morning and I was in the hold this morning, not for very long, for about 15 minutes. But you can imagine as the day goes on, Mark, that will get worse. And as well as the cost implication, there's the eco implications of all of that as well. Yeah.
And I mean, this is one of the points where I wish I'd stuck in at maths a bit. But I've been speaking to a senior aviation source who tells me that, it's not just that extra hour of fuel that they need for the possibility of being in the hold. But if you're coming long haul from, say, Singapore, it's a 14-hour flight. Taking that extra fuel adds to the weight of the aircraft. Therefore, you need more fuel for the burn across. So it's actually more than the hour that's required. And as you say, absolutely, then there is the effect on the environment of burning all that extra fuel and then potentially circling around London for some considerable time waiting for your landing slot.